Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Let's go over this flash crash situation that we are seeing today in our markets and go over what's going on today with AMC stock as well. Give you guys kind of a broad market update as well as an AMC specific update as well. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section, and let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. So the NASDAQ is down about 1% today. A lot of this has to do with AI stocks really giving back a lot of their gains. Okay, let's just be honest. NVIDIA dropped about $100 today, pretty close to it. That's a huge round move. NVIDIA was up 2-3% at one point today. It's now down about 4%. That's a wild swing for NVIDIA. You're talking like penny stock like moves with a $2.3 trillion company. Now, there's a lot of potential reasons why that could have happened today, right? You could make an argument that that should have happened a long time ago, that NVIDIA should probably not be at almost $1,000 per share. You could make an argument that NVIDIA should have seen a pullback a long time ago, right? So I think that's a valid argument today. There's some other things that people have thrown out there in the trading and investing community, like Microsoft experiencing what, some are saying is like a hack on their company, which is kind of crazy. Apparently, Russian hackers are trying to hack into Microsoft, and financial media is not covering this all too much, but a simple Google search and you will find what I'm talking about here. Let's go ahead and do it for ourselves since it's not on the main page of CNBC, which I find crazy. It says right here, Microsoft says Russian state-sponsored hackers are trying to breach its systems again using password spraying software and trying to hack into their code. Who knows for what reason, but when Microsoft is being targeted, that's not Las Vegas Sands or some of your other companies that have been targeted and actually hacked by Russian hackers. Like that's a Microsoft. That could be a big problem for our market. So I could understand why that could also cause some fear. But I think a lot of people don't remember this, especially in good, but even bad times. 90%, sometimes more, sometimes less, of the trading volumes you see on any given day are algorithms, right? They're trading programs. So when you have trading programs and algorithms that are bullish on markets that, continue to push stocks higher, okay, fine, that's great. People love that. But, to the contrary, those algorithms, when they start selling stocks, that can be very aggressive to the downside as well. Now, that's another valid argument that maybe algorithms are starting to become a little bit more defensive around AI stocks, and maybe the algorithms started to hit some sell signals today just because of how far the NASDAQ had run. You could also make the argument that the jobs report this morning came out pretty recessionary, okay? It was not that good. Non-farm payrolls came in at 275,000. The estimate was 200,000, so that was a big beat there. But remember last month, you came in at 357,000 job ads. That was revised down to 229,000 job ads. So not nearly as strong last month as the initial report suggested it was. But when you actually look under the surface, it's a lot worse than you might think. From January to February, full-time employment, full-time jobs, you've lost about 187,000 of those, whereas you've added about 51,000 part-time jobs. So a lot more full-time jobs are being cut and more part-time jobs are being added. Maybe that's why people are having a hard time getting out of debt. Maybe that's why people are getting delinquent more and more on, credit cards, auto loans, mortgages even. And that could make some sense. So when you actually look under the surface, today's jobs report, not that good. The unemployment rate went to 3.9%. The estimate was 3.7%. That was a big jump there as well. And when you get these kinds of big jumps, it usually happens right before a recession. So initially the markets took that as a positive thing, right? Initially the markets were rallying. You hit a new all-time high today before hitting that switcheroo and coming right back down. At the time of recording this video, from the high of the day until where we are right now, you have seen almost a 2% round move from the high to the low. I mean, you were only seeing this in like 2022 on really, really volatile days where, stocks would be down 2%, end up closing up 1%, or, vice versa, would be up 2%, end up closing down 1%. That's kind of what you've seen today. And that's a big shift of momentum, I will say, more than anything else. That kind of shakes the bulls into like, should we be this bullish? It really makes people question their trades, and it really does blow a lot of people up. And that's partly what could be happening right now when so many people were leveraged to the upside. And, today's Friday, the expiration, maybe the market makers needed to unwind some of those bets. Now, I can also make the argument that the SoftBank ARM lockup expiration is coming next Tuesday. Maybe you were starting to see some anticipatory selling because, SoftBank's going to sell some of their ARM position. Now, SoftBank owns 929.7 million shares of SoftBank, 90.5% of the stock outstanding. Only 94 million shares are actually trading right now. So 94 million shares, that's the actual tradable float right now. The rest of it is locked up with SoftBank until March 12th. Now, if SoftBank were to just sell 1% of their position, that would be them selling about 9.3 million shares. That would be a big amount of shares, okay? That would be adding about 10% to the float that's trading right now, right? That would be the average trading volume in ARMs like 15 million shares a day, right? So if you see 9 million shares getting sold, let's say on March 12th, on Tuesday, that could cause a 10, 15, 20% drop in ARM stock. Now, that's only 1% of the position. What if they wanted to sell more than that? You could see an even larger drop. Even if they wanted to sell half of 1%, that would be 4.5 million shares being sold. Even if they sold 1/10 of their position, that would be almost 1 million shares that would be sold. And when your average trading volume is 15 million shares of buying and selling, more buying than selling, if you get 1 million shares that are, boom, getting sold, that's going to have some downside effects, downside pressure on ARM stock. So maybe that's a reason why some of your AI stocks really did give it up today. And you've seen a lot of weakness there. That could also make sense to me. Now, at the same time, you are seeing the NASDAQ down about 1.3%. The S&P 500 is only down about 0.5%. Some stocks have started to perform a little bit better as the NASDAQ has been falling. Not necessarily AMC. AMC is down about 4%, but you can make the argument that if you do see this correction in the NASDAQ, as it looks like we are probably going to see, this is probably the start of a larger kind of correctionary event, then maybe that does open up the door for more money to go into other areas of our markets and not be so concentrated into your AI stocks, into your semiconductors and big tech. Now, whether or not Microsoft actually gets hacked or whether, who knows exactly what happens there. Honestly, I haven't even looked to what Microsoft stock is doing. I assume it's down pretty big. Oh, it's only down 1%. What the heck? Okay, yeah, the mainstream media, for whatever reason, doesn't want to promote that. That's actually going on. I actually heard about that from a buddy. Wow. Yeah, wouldn't expect Microsoft to only be down 1% when the Nasdaq's down 1.5%. Strange. Very strange to say the least. You also had Marvell and Broadcom that did report not so great earnings. Marvell is down 10.5% at the time of recording this video, and Broadcom is down about 7.5%. Be another reason why these stocks are not doing well, pulling down the broader markets. Now, AMC stock, like I said, is down about 4% today, really, again, getting rejected at that 50-day moving average. If this indeed does turn into kind of a correction in tech stocks, you could see AMC stock start to actually outperform here. Now, AMC stock today, as far as hedge fund and institutional option activity, you have seen one order totaling $12,000 with a positive order value of 0%. Volume today is actually 75% to the calls and 24.25% to the puts. So definitely a lot more call activity than put activity, and that's, well, I would say surprising considering what you're actually seeing today. If you take a look at short positioning in AMC stock, short interest continuing to rise at 13.09%, $157.78 million in short positions. Days to cover 2.15, 34.3 million shares that are currently sold short. Shares out on loan 45.56 million. Cost to borrow 1.08%, utilization 66.3%, and a short score of 67.67 out of 100. So there you have that. Stocko tracker data. This drop's definitely gonna, just wiped the calls that were in the money for this week. There was about 20,000 calls in the money for this week. Not anymore. There's only about 4,000 calls in the money for this week. Lots of calls going to expire out the money. Lots of puts that are going to expire out the money as well. Next week is a big week for AMC option activity with about 4,400 calls currently in the money and 259,000 calls that are out the money. In the money puts at about 32,000. Out the money puts at about 109,000. So, definitely gonna have a volatile week next week. That looks pretty certain. 10-year treasury yields today are down about 1 basis point, so really can't explain too much of that. I will also point out, at least last I checked, gold rallied at the same time the markets were falling. So this was really a fear move, it looked like to me, and then you did see gold start to actually come down here, so can't make too much sense of that. But nonetheless, guys, that's going to go ahead and do it for this video. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. Why do you think the markets went through this kind of flash crash event today? Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.